Deep within the sanitized, climate-controlled halls of modern museums, among the serene, gilded masks of pharaohs resting in eternal peace, lies an anomaly that shatters the illusion of a tranquil, ancient afterlife. It is a face contorted in absolute, unending agony. The jaw is unhinged, the mouth agape in a silent, visceral howl that has echoed across thousands of years. This is the ancient Egyptian mummy, known merely as Unknown Man E. While his royal contemporaries were meticulously prepared for a glorious resurrection, their features smoothed into expressions of divine repose by skilled embalmers, this man was condemned to carry his final terrifying moments into eternity. His face remains frozen in a horrifying, perpetual scream. It is an image that immediately provokes a profound, instinctual dread. It demands we ask what unimaginable terror could compel a society obsessed with eternal order to preserve such profound, agonizing chaos. The answer begins in the desolate, sun-scorched cliffs of dear el-Bahari. In the late 19th century, specifically 1886, excavators unearthed a hidden royal cache, a secret tomb complex designed to protect the greatest rulers of the new kingdom from rampant tomb robbery. Amidst the legendary remains of conquerors and god-kings, investigators stumbled upon a plain, unmarked cedar box. Inside lay a desecration. The body within lacked the traditional, purifying linen wrappings necessary for the soul's journey into the next world. Instead, it was hastily bound. Its hands and feet were tightly secured by crude leather thongs, suggesting the deceased was not a revered noble, but a captive. The historical context of this burial defied every sacred law of the era, presenting a chilling puzzle to the archaeologists who first unsealed the crypt. The most disturbing element of this discovery was not the physical binding, but the shroud itself. Unknown Man E was enveloped in a ritually impure sheepskin. To the priesthood of the time, sheepskin was considered profoundly unclean, a material strictly forbidden from touching the dead. Wrapping a body in this manner was no accident of poverty or a hasty oversight by mortuary workers. It was a deliberate, calculated act of spiritual sabotage. By defiling the corpse with the skin of a beast, the embalmers ensured the soul would be barred from the field of reeds, the heavenly paradise of the afterlife. The sheepskin was a spiritual anchor, designed to drag the deceased down into the dark, chaotic void between worlds. To understand the gravity of this punishment is to confront a psychological terror far worse than mere execution. The ancient Egyptians believed the soul was divided into the Ka, the vital essence, and the Ba, the personality. Both required a pristine, recognizable vessel to survive the journey through the underworld. By denying this man the proper rites, his executioners were actively starving his Ka and blinding his Ba. He was subjected to a damnatio memoriae, an absolute erasure from existence where his name would be chiseled from every monument and stricken from every record. The silence of the tomb whispered of a crime so severe that the perpetrator was not just killed, but systematically unmade. The agonizing visage left behind was meant to reflect the eternal torment of a soul deliberately denied its rest. For over a century, the silent howl of this nameless captive remained a profound enigma. However, the relentless march of modern science eventually pierced the veil of antiquity. Recent forensic analysis, utilizing advanced CT scans and genetic testing, has begun revealing the brutal truth hidden beneath the desiccated flesh. The forensic evidence points to a shockingly violent death. The high-resolution scans revealed overinflated lungs, a classic physiological response to sudden severe asphyxiation or the ingestion of a potent, agonizing toxin. There were no signs of the careful organ removal typical of traditional mummification. Instead, a corrosive, burning resin was simply poured directly down his throat after death. The biological data soon intersected with surviving legal documents from the 20th dynasty, illuminating the dark history behind the corpse. DNA testing confirmed a direct paternal lineage to one of Egypt's last great pharaohs, Ramesses III. This undeniable genetic link thrust the screaming mummy directly into the center of one of the most infamous and bloody scandals of the ancient world. It connected the agonizing face to a meticulously planned uprising known as the Harem conspiracy. According to the Judicial Papyrus of Turin, a sprawling plot was hatched within the secluded, opulent walls of the royal palace aimed at assassinating the aging king and usurping the divine throne. At the heart of this treasonous web was Queen Tia, a secondary wife desperate to see her own son wear the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt. That son was Prince Pentawere. Blinding ambition drove the prince into a shadowy alliance with palace officials, military commanders, and even practitioners of dark magic. Historical accounts detail how they smuggled wax figures and cursed spells into the royal chambers, drawing upon forbidden texts to weaken the pharaoh's guards and cloud the minds of his protectors. The conspiracy was vast, ruthless, and terrifyingly close to success, utilizing every weapon at their disposal from hidden daggers to forbidden sorcery. The plot was ultimately uncovered, but not before Ramesses III suffered a fatal, slashing wound to his throat, an injury hidden beneath linen bandages for millennia. The ensuing trial was a spectacle of absolute, merciless justice. The papyrus records detail the fates of the conspirators in chilling, bureaucratic terms. Some were burned alive, their ashes scattered to the winds to prevent any hope of physical restoration or an afterlife. Others of high birth, like Prince Pentawere, were offered a grim alternative to public execution. Because spilling royal blood was considered a grievous taboo, they were permitted to take their own lives. The ancient records state simply that the prince was left alone, and he took his own life. The physical reality of that forced suicide brings us back to the contorted features of unknown man E. Whether he was forced to swallow a fast-acting, corrosive poison that burned his internal organs, or compelled to hang himself in the suffocating darkness of his cell, his end was excruciating. The intense physical agony of his final moments triggered a cadaveric spasm. This rare medical phenomenon causes an instantaneous, lockjaw stiffening of the muscles at the exact moment of death. His jaw locked open, his vocal cords strained in a final soundless shriek. The embalmers, acting under strict royal decree, made no effort to close his mouth or smooth his terror-stricken features. They let the agony set. The most chilling truth of all is that the scream was preserved on purpose. It was not a mistake, but a monument to his ultimate failure and a terrifying warning to any who would dare challenge the divine order of the pharaoh. The embalmers poured the boiling resin directly over his contorted face, sealing the expression of pure terror in place for eternity. They wrapped him in the unclean skin of a beast, bound his limbs like an animal destined for slaughter, and dumped him alongside the very ancestors he had betrayed. The physical body was preserved just enough to ensure the soul would remain perpetually tethered to its suffering. This is the ultimate horror of the screaming mummy. It is not merely the gruesome spectacle of a painful death, but the calculated bureaucratic administration of eternal damnation. It forces us to confront an ancient society that possessed both the imagination and the power to engineer a hell specifically tailored for one man. The frozen face of Prince Pentawere serves as a visceral reminder of a time when justice extended far beyond the grave. His silent howl continues to resonate through the corridors of history, a terrifying testament to the lengths humanity will go to punish its own, ensuring that some secrets and some screams are never truly buried.